The modern digital economy runs on a continuous, invisible exchange of trust. Every time you log into a new service using an existing account, applications are seamlessly trading permissions in the background. Since 2012, the framework governing those permissions has been OAuth 2.0. It acts as the routing system that lets third-party services access your data without ever needing to see your actual password. When engineers built this standard, they made a structural assumption that the applications requesting access lived on centralized, heavily guarded servers. These servers were capable of holding a static password, called a client secret, to authenticate themselves to the network. That architecture worked perfectly for locked server rooms, but as computing power migrated into smartphones, relying on a hard-coded secret became a massive liability. This shift introduced the era of public clients, complex mobile ecosystems, and single-page applications running directly in the browser. Because these applications download their entire source code to the user's local device, any static client secret embedded inside them can be easily extracted by anyone looking closely enough. To address this, the upcoming OAuth 2.1 standard takes a reductive approach. Instead of adding new features, it strips away hazardous workarounds like the implicit and password grants and mandates 8 years of accumulated security patches. By forcing developers to abandon these deprecated flows, OAuth 2.1 specifically targets the most critical vulnerability in the mobile ecosystem, the interception gap. When you log into a mobile application, the authorization server sends you back to your app using a custom URI scheme, a specific link designed to wake up that exact application. The threat opens because a malicious application on that same device can register the exact same custom URI. When the server sends the authorization code back to the device, the malicious app intercepts it. In a traditional flow without a client secret, the authorization server has no way to distinguish between the two apps. It blindly issues an access token to the attacker who presents the stolen code. Developers often assume existing parameters protect them here, but the state parameter is only designed to prevent cross-site request forgery during the redirect, and the nonce parameter only stops ID token replays. Neither operates at the token endpoint, where the code is actually exchanged. Validating the request itself falls short. The system needs a mechanism to mathematically prove the specific identity of the client redeeming the code. The definitive countermeasure to this threat is the proof key for code exchange, commonly called PKCE. The process begins before the login screen even appears. The legitimate application generates a temporary high-entropy random string known as the code verifier. The application then hashes this verifier using the SHA-256 algorithm, creating a completely new one-way value called the code challenge. In this sequence diagram, the client sends only the code challenge over the open network to the authorization endpoint to retrieve the initial code. Then, the client presents the original, unhashed code verifier directly to the token endpoint via a secure backchannel. This two-step sequence creates an irrevocable cryptographic tether. The application that initiated the login is mathematically proven to be the exact same application completing it. Consider what happens to the attacker under this protocol. They manage to intercept both the authorization code and the public code challenge, but they hit a mathematical roadblock. SHA-256 is a one-way hashing function. It is computationally impossible for the attacker to reverse engineer that challenge back into the required code verifier. When the malicious app tries to redeem its stolen code at the token endpoint, it cannot produce the verifier. The authorization server detects the mismatch and definitively rejects the request. The attacker is left holding a worthless authorization code, neutralized entirely by cryptographic proof of possession. As detailed in the official security specification shown here, PKCE is so effective at stopping code injection that it is no longer restricted to mobile apps. OAuth 2.1 elevates it to a strict requirement for all clients, including confidential server-side applications. To close any remaining loopholes, the updated standard also enforces exact string matching for redirect URIs and outright bans the transmission of bearer tokens in query strings. By consolidating 8 years of hard-learned lessons into a single framework, OAuth 2.1 provides systems engineers with a definitive blueprint to secure the next generation of digital identity.